Well, hello everyone. Ogre27 Kane here today, and we're gonna do a review of Brigandine, The Legend of Runersia for Nintendo Switch. Let's do a little bit of an overview and figure out what this game is all about. So this is a strategy tactical RPG, but it has its own twist on things, being very much like Risk with a giant overworld with set castles in which you inhabit the borders of your castles and distinguish and figure out where you want to invade and how you want to fight. It's also built with 5 distinct different countries, if you will, that have their own border setups and their own complications to how they do everything. One of the coolest things about this game is that it allows a lot of variation, not only with the story itself, but through monsters and how you want to build your team and who you want to upgrade. You have the same essential end boss, if you will, but other than that, the game really is open-ended. The story is surprisingly good, so let's do that one first. So this will be a bit of a shorter category for us, as the story in this game is not really the focal point, and it's actually kind of small, if you will. It really just serves as frames or little sequences between each battle and how you want to dictate your invasions. Having the 5 different countries, as you're seeing right here, really allows a lot of variation in how you want to play it, and they all have their own distinct knights with their own reason for what they're doing, and certain criteria, if you will, to recruit them to get them involved in your story. The game has a ton of replay value, well over 100 hours. I want to say it takes a good 40 hours just to beat each country one at a time. On top of that, you have to do tons of side questing and tons of different stuff if you want to 100% this and see everything there is to it. I love the fact that this game also has a nice little twist at the end. The end boss is kind of good in that sense. I don't want to spoil too much more, but if you enjoy these kind of games, the story will do its part, and it's not a negative thing whatsoever. It's just kind of piecemeal and in there. So let's move on to our next category now, and that's going to be the gameplay. So the best way to describe the gameplay in this is it's a mixture of Risk with Final Fantasy Tactics. The Risk side of things is the first phase, the organizational phase, in which you determine the size, strength, and makeup of your armies and what they're going to be doing as far as actions like side questing for items, farming for experience, or building up for an invasion. On your second phase, you move into an attack phase, and it determines who's invading through a systematic numbers, if you will, system of dice rolling. It utilizes the strength of your mana pool, which is the entire makeup of your army, and your Rune Knight combined with that. Now, it's really valuable to keep your army alive and not lose a single member, because they do actually upgrade and change classes, if you will, like you're seeing here, and become more valuable to you. At the end of the game, you'll really need this help, so I highly recommend trying to figure out how to beat every battle without losing a single creature. It's easier said than done, but you trust me, you'll be rewarded for it at the end. Now, the Final Fantasy Tactics side of things is more of the tactical RPG, in which you'll see in a hex-based grid system, and it's turn-based, where you will be determined through different actions that you can take on the monsters. One thing I will discuss a lot further in the combat section is how this all works, but I don't want to spoil too much now in this one. The other gameplay feature you'll see in this is how the story fits in between all of these segments and propels it forward and really keeps you wanting to see more and more. So, without further ado, let's move on and talk about graphics and animations now. So this game was built on the Unity engine, and frankly it kinda shows, as the game is a little bit under budget looking. Don't let that turn you off though, as the game has tremendously gorgeous artwork. I absolutely love the art style with it, and the animation quality is good enough for what it's doing. It's very stable, and I never once had a performance issue with it. It never crashed or gave me any issues or errors, and I left it in my Switch for days at a time sometimes, with no sort of memory leaks or anything crazy like that. I'm playing the Play Asia version, and I don't know if there's a difference between the limited run or the Japanese version, but it's very, very well performing in that category, if you ask me. Now, as far as the animation quality, I have to say there's some weird performance in between screens, such as when you're getting into a battle and when you're exiting a battle, there's usually a weird judder with the frame rate, but none of this ever impacted the gameplay itself, and it never gave me any problems as far as impacting what I was doing in terms of my actions. The last thing I want to say is that they must have spent a lot of extra time on the artwork, because it is so elaborate in stark contrast to how deep the story is. There's definitely a lot of effort put into that, and I love that. It really shows their love for the game. So let's do controls and audio now. So we're going to start off with the audio, and I just want to show some of this off as it's in-game battle, and all of the voiceovers are Japanese, but the music is fantastic. If you don't mind a little bit of reading, then it shouldn't be a problem to you. So let's show it off now.
敵を侮るな。慎重に。でやっ！下手こい。皆、怪我は。
Absolutely love this soundtrack to this, and I highly encourage that you check this game out, if nothing else for that. So let's talk about controls real quick. There's really nothing to note here because it's just a typical tactical RPG, and really as long as you can confirm your actions and move around on the field, you should be fine. I didn't have any issues, so let's move on to combat now. So being a tactical RPG, this is where the game should shine, and frankly it does. I love the difference in variation between all of the different monsters and your rune knights and their strengths and abilities. Having a class system which really expands on how they can grow and what they can do changes so much of this game every single time you play through it. You think it's going to be a slog when you get into your first battle or two, and then you realize it moves fairly quickly, and learning the strengths and weaknesses on the battlefield is your true advantage. You can really do a lot of damage with a level 1 monster if you know what you're doing. Now, like I said earlier, it really encourages you to grow your monsters and your rune knights and level them up, and to equip them with proper weapons and items that have a lot more different perks. One of the other cool features to this combat, if you will, is how you can rebuild the makeup of your teams at any time. After each phase, in between on organizational phases, you can recruit and build different armies and put them on different borders and build different synergies, if you will. So the game really encourages you to try everything with what they give you and see the differences in all the classes. What you think may be a weak monster class may be really good in a certain area, and there are a lot of situational monsters, if you will, but that doesn't stop them from having other uses on the battlefield, such as magic, or gaining a new class which gives them an ability such as a second whole move. The lizard, I hated the lizard man at first, but when I got it to its 3rd class and I got that second move, he suddenly became one of my main all-stars. I loved everything about that. So if you enjoy growing and differentiating and changing your monsters and your characters themselves, then this game has a lot to offer. So let's hit conclusion now. So in conclusion, this game is an absolute must-buy from me. I love everything about it, and it really feeds into all aspects that I really enjoy with a tactical RPG. It has 3 different difficulties, an easy, hard, and normal mode, which all change the variation of time it gives you to beat it and conquer the continent. But these shouldn't bother you at all, so check it out. Thank you for watching. It was a blast to make. I upload every single Monday. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. And have a great rest of your day. This is Ogre 27 Kane, signing out.
エンドレアそれじゃこれがお気をつけなされこやつめ我らルーンの騎士を少しも恐れておりませんなん
ということじゃこれほどのものとは
みんな油断するな